That's recording,
Okay.
and then. All right, that's recording too.
Okay.
So you want me to start?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's start whenever. Yeah.
When I was 4 years old, for breakfast, my mother, she was very practical. Having 6 kids to feed, 3 workers, and God knows how many relatives, she had no time to do anything particular. But she was very practical. She used to cut a piece of bread anytime I wanted to eat. She was cutting a piece of bread. She was putting olive oil, a little oregano, a little salt, and little vinegar. That was, I used to love. And I used to take the piece of bread and run out eating and playing. That morning, she did the same thing. I got the bread, and I heard a lot of commotion in the street. So I went, curiosity, and I see 2 older kids than me. They must be 9, 10 years old, trying to sell. They have a Kazaki with candies and sweets, and was trying to sell to the kids. So they look at me with my bread, and the one kid says, "If you cut a piece of bread and give me, I'm gonna give you a chocolate." I said, "Yeah." I cut a piece of bread. I give him a chocolate. "Okay," he said, "you have to give me another piece." I said, "Okay, I'll give you another piece." So give me the caramels, whatever it is. It says, "Okay." It means no. And then I said, "Okay." And I figured out, they played games. I was so innocent not to understand starvation. And that was the time when something profound happened. It was a third kid, and he was watching me eating. And was all Jewish kids who came from Salonika. And all of a sudden, he comes close to me, and he grabs the bread from my hand, and he started eating like a lion. I didn't get angry or mad, but something occurred to me. My God, I'm always fed. This little kid is starving. That was the time I stopped being a kid. I went home because I was still hungry. They took my bread. And my mother says, "Are you still hungry? I gave you," and I told her the story. And I see my mother the first time tearing, crying. So he gave me a piece of bread again, and she went inside. He cut half a loaf of bread, and we used to have some, chickens. She went to the chicken coop, and whatever eggs she find it, so he put everything, and he said to me, "Go to the kids, to these youngsters, and give it to them." It was a moment who stuck in my rest of my life. And I understood what means to have or not to have. And that was one of the few stories which make me understand not everybody it is fortunate. And there is people around who starving and having nothing. And that was one of the things which I still remember to this day. Now, of course, many other things happen. For example, every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we had from Salonika, we had relatives in Salonika, and every 2 to 3 people used to come to Yarisa, stay to our house for 2-3 weeks. Then they used to leave. 3 other people used to come. This way, they eliminate certain amount of giving of food. Because in Salonika, starvation was the #1 killer. Even though we had everything, but Athens and Salonika, it was the death valley of the Jewish and Greeks. We lost almost 1 million people because of starvation. That was, one of the things I remember, having relatives, and they survived. From our family, nobody was, thank God, got killed or died because of starvation. The other thing is, it is very ugly what I experienced, what I saw, and what I was witness of 3 different incidents where they shook my life. As usual, I was a kid and I used to play most of the times by myself. And that morning, I was outside playing in the street, and was a guy hiding and asked me, "Hey kid, did you see anybody coming?" I said, "Yeah, I see 2 Germans and a Greek coming." And he was hiding, and I would start playing again. And all of a sudden, when they passed him away, he came from behind, and in front of me, he shot them all. That was the first time I saw people get killed. The other thing is, one night we had German officers coming and go. This time we had two youngsters, officers, and all of them automatically was becoming part of our family because they've been told we're a very good family. They are welcome to eat with us, stay with us, and everything. And they used to love us. And that day, one of the generals, and I forget to tell one more thing. My cousin, Cretan, second cousin, he was speaking perfect German. And he came with one of the officers, and the officer was telling, and he interpreted to my father what he was saying. And what he was saying, it was that night, the whole Yenisar, Germans are going to come and they're going to do atrocities. They're going to, no reason, nothing, they're just going to terrorize, the town. And he suggested, the Germans, in the second floor, where we had the big table, to have ouzo, cressy, liquor, wine, pork, fried pork, salads, cheeses, to be filled. And my mother did this, but at the same time, a German officer and looked my father and my stupid father. He was so well dressed, and he was dressed with this 3/4 English fabric, coat, 3/4 coat. He had the culottes and the leather boots. He came, this drunky, high officer, and he looked my father, and he said, "You are partisan." And I'm next to my father, and I looking my father's face. He was terrified. And the only thing he was saying, no, I'm not partisan. And the German was getting angrier, and he was saying, "You're partisan." My father, what he could have done. And I was always next to my father. I wasn't scared. The only thing I thought, I'd never going to see my father alive again. And I still remember going to his pistol and trying to take it and shoot. That was the time the two low officers, German officers, they run, they pick him up, they put them down, and they start yelling at him in German. And of course, I had no idea what they were saying to him. But that was another close, close call.
Yep.
Seeing my father so vulnerable. So the man which I knew, he is my hero. And let's stop here. I will start again.
Okay.